Multidimensional quoting is the concept of, I'm going to quote you for 3 years. And in year 1, I'm going to quote you for 100. Year 2, you're going up to 200. Year 3, you go up to 300. And in year 2, because we're going up to 200, I'm going to give you 5% off. In year 3, I'm going to give you 10% off. You can also do uplifts year over year. So it works. It's a really slick interface. And if I demo this for your sales managers, they're going to say, got to have it, right? And the problem with that is it breaks a lot of things. And I will tell you that of, say, my personal 20-some CPQ implementations, I've probably had half of them that started off in the requirements saying, got to have MDQ. Salesforce demoed it, got to have it. And of those, let's say it was 24, 25, exactly 0 have implemented it once they saw what it does.
Yeah, I'm in that bucket.
100% have thrown it out the window. What's that?
I'm in that bucket of people who are like, you know, we have this use case where we grow users. We call it the crawl, walk, run, where we grow in subscription users each year, which feels like the perfect use case for MDQ. And we just, in the way that we needed to configure our bundles and to be successful in that way, we just couldn't make MDQ work. So
here's the issue. If you use bundles, it breaks your bundles, right? So I have a client right now that they have within their bundle, they have something that says, I have 2 different license types and I have this third thing. It's actually a Salesforce connector, right? And if I buy 50 of this license type and 50 of that license type, they need 100 Salesforce connectors. So I use a rule, a price rule, to sum up those 2 things and inject that as the quantity into that. Then we get into the line editor and they say, oh, I need to do, say, an annual. Theirs is even worse, it's custom. But they say, I want to take that first license type and do 100, then 200, then 300. And immediately what that Salesforce connector says is, oh, 600, right? It's creating 3 lines, 100, 200, 300. And because I'm summing, it says, oh, 600 Salesforce connectors. No, 300. So then you have to say, okay, I have to segment the other licenses as well, right? So anything that's feeding off that, I got to segment those, and I got to manually enter the quantities. I can't rely on Salesforce to do that anymore. Percent of total product, they have a platinum support option. It's figured in at like 30% of my subscriptions. And it does the same thing where it'll inflate the number unless I also segment that, right? Now what happens is I've segmented all these lines for 3 years. So instead of 3 line items, I've got 9, right? Creates 9 subscriptions. And then when I go to renew, my bundle doesn't look like my bundle anymore. I just have 9 line items that are all just a la carte things. No rules apply. And you're saying, oh, you've got a renewal for 100 of these, 200 of these, and 300 of these. No, actually, now I'm at 300. I should be renewing for 300 going forward. And the stuff that I showed you about roll-ups, when you do roll-ups on a quote that has MDQ, again, I'm rolling it up and says, oh, you've got 600 of these. Let me tell you what the net price would be for those 600 because the same line exists 3 times. So you have to do jump through all these hoops to get your roll-ups. So there's a lot of features in Salesforce CPQ that whether I demo it for you or Salesforce demos it for you or some other partner demos it for you, that will show you these slick tools that work beautifully on new business. MDQ works, not beautifully, it kind of works on new business, with the exception of what I just said about the bundles, not if you're using bundles. That targeted amount at the quote level works beautifully on a new business deal, breaks badly on an amendment or a renewal. So if somebody's giving you a demo and they're showing you some cool thing, always ask, what's that look like on the amendment? What's that look like on the renewal, right? Because that's usually where it breaks, right? So anytime we're talking to a client and we're talking about features or functionality or pricing rules or uplift or any of that, we always have to have the conversation about, okay, what's the expected behavior on an amendment? What's the expected behavior on a renewal? Yeah, it doesn't work that way, right? And we have to talk through that. So New business demos is what you'll see. That's when they show off all the bells and whistles. And some of that stuff just does not work well on an amendment or